And now, your host, Shaheen.
Oh, yeah. I like this. I like this lead in. Welcome all. My goodness, what a night it has been. This is the UFC Vegas 44 post-fight show here on MMA Fighting. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. My goodness, I am still recovering from what we just saw. My name is, of course, Shaheen Al-Shatti. I am joined by the whole crew. It's a party here tonight. We got José Youngs. We got the Prince of Positivity, Mr. Alexander K. Lee. And we have the best producer in the business, Casey Leydon. And we're here to break down all the action we just saw. And fellas, what a night it was. A super entertaining card all around. Finishes galore. Probably one of the best fight nights we have seen all year. But all atop it, the main story. The King of Rio, José Aldo, the underdog, the legend. He does it again, guys.
The underdog. The
underdog. At age 35, this man is still doing it. 50-45, 50-45, 49-46. He wins a unanimous decision over Rob Font. That's 3 straight now, fellas. I'm just going to jump right to you, Jose, because I am still, again, recovering from what we just saw. Unbelievable throwback performance from the former champion. What do you make of what we just saw tonight?
I mean, it was a wicked fight, and I think that's kind of what we needed with José Aldo, because we've seen him dominate his last 2 fights. Like, a lot of people have been like, I know Khabib is kind of the outlier in saying that you can't really turn back the clock when it comes to like being a championship caliber fighter after a certain point in your fight career. And after the Yan fight, which I've been saying forever, the Petr Yan versus José Aldo fight, I think is an often overlooked banger of a fight. Like, until José Aldo kind of wilted under the might of Petr Yan, that fight was awesome.
It was incredibly competitive. It was crazy competitive.
Incredibly competitive. He, like, let's not forget, he dropped Petr Yan with a leg kick, like kicked his legs out right from underneath him, and then Petr Yan did what Petr Yan does and just kind of beat the soul out of his opponent. But since then, José Aldo has kind of made light work of all these elite bantamweights. And I think it's going to be weird to say, but I think we needed this. We needed this back and forth war, because like we've seen him dominate, but I wanted to see him kind of face adversity at bantamweight against a high-level fighter and come back and win. I mean, a lot of people scored that first round for Aldo based off of the last 10 seconds because he did the most damage, but Rob Font looks pretty fantastic for like the first 4 minutes of that first round, and I was like, oh, this might be a long night for José Aldo. Rob Font seems to have some sort of game plan that can kind of counter José Aldo's like angles and his fantastic footwork and everything. And then José Aldo just kind of crumbled him with a 1-2, and then from there it was a pretty fantastic back and forth war. I think it's pretty easy to say. I think we can all be in agreement. Fight of the night is pretty obvious. The main event between Rob Font and José Aldo. So for me, this is the type of performance I needed to see from José Aldo, a back and forth war where he does come out on top against a very high level top 5 bantamweight. This isn't like this isn't 10 of 6. This is top 5 bantamweight that José Aldo just had a like top 5 fight of the year against.
Yeah, no one does that to Rob Font, and José Aldo just did that to Rob Font. And Jose, you mentioned it, that first round looked like José Aldo was going to be in some trouble pretty early on, and then he kind of turns the tide there at the end, gets that sort of knockdown, drops him, and then from that point on, it was that was the story of the fight, right? José Aldo's power versus whatever volume Rob Font was able to mount. He's even really kind of dropping him with a leg kick during that third round. It was just starting to build, and it looked like poor Rob Font had a broken orbital by the end of that. It looked like both of them might have, but it was just nasty stuff. Nearly gets the rear naked choke here at the end in the last second too. I mean, AK, it's just unbelievable. I saw this on Twitter tonight. I apologize to whoever tweeted it. I forgot who tweeted it, but José Aldo is younger than Francis Ngannou. Like, I don't even understand what to make of it. Even if I already knew that, just hearing that sentence is mind blowing. What are your takeaways from this throwback vintage performance we saw?
AK Lee. This is my opinion.
All right, sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, my apologies. I was I queued up a comment from someone on Twitter. They said they are not able to comment on YouTube. This is Luke at Luke CZE representing Canada and the Czech Republic said, "Can we all just take a minute to appreciate the absolute legend that is José Aldo? There's a smorgasbord, great use of the word, of new age fans who dismiss him as the 13th second guy. Absolutely one of the GOATs." I think we all agree with that sentiment. That was just fantastic to watch. I mean, I think we've been saying all week in the lead up what a privilege it is to still get to see him fight. You mentioned his age, Shaheen. It is kind of like it is kind of strange when you frame it that way when you compare him to Ngannou, or that he's only 1 year older than Rob Font, and he has so much mileage on him. And then there was that little dip in his career at the end of featherweight, kind of the beginning of bantamweight, where people were starting to question whether he still had all the capabilities that he did. He might be at like 90% of what he once was, maybe even 80%. But boy, 80% of José Aldo is still absolutely spectacular. And poor Rob Font was on the receiving end of so much of it today. He won a lot of aspects of the fight. I thought Rob Font's leg kick game looked great. As you said, the first 4 minutes of the round, of the opening round, that was all Rob Font. He was doing great. He wasn't landing anything like super hard, but it was like, yeah, he looked like what we thought he was. The next contender at 135. And then once Aldo turned those lasers on, man, he gets the knockdown. That right hand was just absolute dynamite throughout the fight. There was one sequence, I think, near the end of the second, which prompted me to tweet out, imagine fighting José Aldo. And it was the sequence where he just slipped every shot that Font threw and landed a counter every time. It was just insane. Again, for a guy who, like we said, forget the fact that he's 35, has been fighting for, I think, 17, 16 years now. He's been fighting for a long time, has a lot of mileage, nothing but elite opponents for the majority of his career. And for him to get it done again, I had picked against him, once again proving I am a fool. My picks are the worst. Happy to be wrong, José Aldo. So spectacular to watch, and just so much greatness still ahead of him.
I mean, AK, I think it's fair to say we're all fools to some degree, because when this whole thing started, when José Aldo moved down to bantamweight, told the world that he was doing this, I feel like the big response from almost everybody, right, was just this is not a good idea. Like, this is a guy who's historically struggled to make featherweight, and you're going to cut down 10 more pounds, and it sort of felt like he was in that last chapter of his career. I just don't even know how to react to this anymore. I mean, we saw this a couple months ago when José Aldo did this in his last fight against Pedro Munoz, but this was even more impressive. I think people have been pegging Rob Font as a future champion in this division, and to go out there and 50-45 him on two judges' scorecards. I mean, Casey, can you believe that this is still happening, man?
Absolutely. It's freaking José Aldo. That's all. It's like, y'all must have forgot. I picked José Aldo. I wasn't confident, but like José Aldo is still just a tough dude. Rob Font's not really known for his power. I figured if Rob Font was going to win, it was going to be like how the first 4 minutes of round one was going to go. But he was going to have to put a serious hurting on Aldo, and I don't know if that was going to come with Rob Font's style. It might have won him a decision, but I don't know if he necessarily had that power to really hurt Aldo, which I think what you need. But man, it's José Aldo. I don't know. He just got more weapons. I think we were talking about best boxer. People kind of forgot José Aldo is an amazing boxer. The way he slips punches is facts. Yeah, just the way he slips punches. He brought back his freaking leg kicks again, and that leg kick just took away Rob Font's jab. I'm kind of surprised none of us kind of talked about that actually. I think it's just that those leg kicks just took away Rob's jab, and then Rob would kind of come with power and stuff, but the power wasn't enough without the jab to set it up to really hit José Aldo hard enough. So, 50-45. That's how I scored it. Awesome. Just vintage José Aldo. Vintage.
I mean, Casey, you're out here. You're a resident fighter right now. You're training for your amateur debut. How much money would I have to pay you to take a José Aldo leg kick right now, like at age 35 for him?
Oh, that was...
Full strength.
It was snap a leg. It was snap a leg. Let me call HR and tell them I'll be out for 2 weeks. But
2 weeks.
Yeah,
that's it. You're looking at months, man.
It was suck. Yeah, José Aldo, and as long as he still has that chin, as long as he's still tough, and he's so defensively sound, he's good to go for a while. I guess I don't understand him making 35. That just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but because we saw him almost die at 40. No, he looked horrible at 45, and maybe I guess he's just trying harder now. I don't know. Is there any other fighter that had equal success coming down in weight like
Jessica
this.
Andrade from 135 to 115. But
But
Jose Aldo,
there was no one. But the only reason why there was no 115 when Jessica Andrade came into the UFC, I would say that's a bit of an exception. But I understand. Yeah, but it's very rare. It's very rare for what Jose Aldo has done.
Jose Aldo has said he's kind of taking, like, remember the old videos of the Nova União gym where they were like cutting weight like on the roof of their gym, like sitting in the sun, like, and then their ice baths were literally like trash buckets filled with ice. Like, they're not doing that anymore. So I think they're taking him out, and he spends a lot of time in Florida. I think he has a house in Florida too, so he's bouncing back and forth, doing it smart.
Yeah,
I think
I think a lot of us kind of just were worried that Jose Aldo would kind of go the Renan Barão route in terms of his career. Renan Barão,
it felt like that might have. There was like a small window where that might have happened.
When Renan Barão, he was talking about he's the greatest bantamweight ever. No, Jose Aldo is the greatest featherweight ever. They lose their titles. Everyone loses their titles. That happens. But is he still going to remain a top fighter? Renan Barão clearly fell fast. Jose Aldo, like AK said, maybe went from 100% to 85%. But that 85% is still a top 5 bantamweight in the world, and that's incredible.
Yeah, he's lost to champions.
That's
I'm
it.
not counting. I'm not even counting the Marlon fight because I don't know anyone that thinks Marlon won that fight. I think
I had Marlon win the fight, but it was incredibly competitive.
Exactly.
But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
But like Jan Volkanovski and Holloway, that's it, and those are clear losses.
And Marlon fought for a title contender. Yeah.
Jose, I want to stay on this because you guys talked about the stakes heading into this fight and what really the win could mean for either man, whether it was more important for who to win. And now we're seeing it. I mean, Jose Aldo is a player in this bantamweight division. It felt like people had kind of moved on from him and sort of that title conversation after the Peter Yan fight, but he is here and he's making it clear that he's not going away. This division is just so muddled right now. It's so bizarre. We don't really have any clarity or finality with the championship picture, obviously with Aljo and Yan. And then you have TJ Dillashaw sort of waiting in the wings as well. I mean, does this win and does the way that this fight played out tonight for you, does this simplify the bantamweight division a bit in your eyes heading into 2022, or does it make it a little more complicated? Like, where do you feel like we are right now at 135?
I mean, Aljamain Sterling is talking on the post-fight show right now on ESPN, so I have absolutely no idea if he's giving an update on his health. But if Aljamain, because let's not forget, TJ Dillashaw's knee completely blew out against Corey Sandhagen. So theoretically, Aljamain and TJ aren't going to be ready to fight anytime soon. So if they're going to give a title fight to, like, if Peter Yan's going to pull the Renan Barão route and defend an interim title, next man up is Jose Aldo. And like I said, Aldo Yan won. That fight was awesome until it wasn't. And because we all saw Dana White like yell at the ref at that documentary where he thought it should have been stopped sooner. Like, who else is Aldo left to fight? Merab? I don't think anyone's like claiming at the bits to see Merab Jose Aldo. I mean, that fight rules. I'm sure Jose Aldo would take it, but stylistically, that might be a nightmare matchup for him. And then after that, I think it's just selfishly, I want to see the Dominic Cruz fight, but Jose Aldo said a million times he only wants to fight up. He doesn't really he respects Dominic Cruz, and maybe that
he's so far ahead at this point.
I know
too.
Exactly. But that's like, if you look at MMA Fighting's rankings, bantamweight rankings, like Aljamain,
Jose Aldo's number 6.
Yeah. Number 6, he's next man up, and Merab 7. He already fought Marlon. Kyoji's obviously and Sergio aren't in the UFC. Beat Pedro Munoz. Beat Marlon. Cody's at flyweight. And then Dominic is the highest ranked one. He hasn't fought outside of Merab that he could possibly fight. Like, if anyone's going to get if Aljamain and TJ are on the shelf for the indefinite future, Yan Aldo, I am totally fine with.
AK, Jose is all sold on this. Would you push Aldo ahead of TJ Dillashaw now? Do you feel like that's where the queue is, the pecking order for you?
If TJ is hurt, if TJ is ready to go in like April, then it's TJ Yan all the way.
Okay. How about you?
I know. I think that's the right take. I mean, again, I really want to see Aldo fight Dillashaw. I think it was the right call out to make. But again, the timing, as Jose said, the timing just might not line up. If there is if by the end of, or like the middle of January, end of January, we have some idea when Dillashaw will come back, even if it means Aldo having to sit in the shelf for like 7-8 months, I still think he should wait for that fight. But then again, Yan is going to have to stay busy. It's true. He has to fight somebody. So did Aldo definitively jump ahead of Dillashaw with this win? I don't think so. I think, unfortunately, he will have to fight someone else. It's going to be screwy because, again, he can't really fight. We don't know what's going to happen with Cruz. He's going to fight Munoz first. I don't think and if Munoz beats Cruz, I don't think anyone's clamoring for an Aldo Munoz rematch. So very, very tricky situation. It's a great division. It's so deep and it's so busy, which is good, except for a little bit of a cluster at the top of the charts. And Corey Sandhagen's in the equation somewhere too. But I mean, logically, I think he fights Rob Font. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe for some reason he gets the Aldo fight. I could certainly, again, if Font's not available, so there's some possibilities, but yeah, gosh, so much of it depends on when Sterling and Dillashaw are available. By the way, not to change the conversation, the bonuses are in.
Ooh.
And I saw them, so I won't say anything. Hold on, and I'll say there's 6 bonuses.
Well deserved. I mean, this was an
What did I say?
unbelievable card.
What did I say before we went live?
You actually called that. Good call.
Yeah.
Give him a cookie. Give him his cookie.
I mean, fight of the night has to be main event.
Performance bonuses.
Fight of the night has to be main event.
Go ahead. Well, what do you guys? First of all, what do you guys think fight of the night? Yeah.
I'm gonna be an outlier, and I would give Aldo a performance bonus, and I give main event. I give the co-main fight of the night because I thought that fight was freaking incredible. But I understand what everyone's thinking.
Jose, what do you think fight of the night?
So I had the main event. So I make the graphics for us. So I was trying to get ahead. So the main event, pull back the curtain. Main event, I was fight of the night, and then I had like 6 possible performance bonuses. And
all right, give me 4
before I went. I got Jamal Hill,
easy,
Fiziev, Chris Curtis, and Guida.
Okay, Sean, what do you think? Shaheen, what do you think for performances?
For the 4 performance bonuses, I would say
I think 6 people deserve it, but those are 4, like 5, 6.
I would say if Aldo's going to get fight of the night, I would then say Fiziev, Hill, Guida, and Curtis. I don't know if that's what you said.
That is the same.
You
and
guys,
Casey, you said Aldo would get one, and then
I want Fiziev, Riddell fight of the night, Aldo performance, Hill performance, Curtis performance, and Star motherfucking Boy performance with his 50 punch combo.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's right. Okay, well,
50, that was an amazing 50 punch combo.
So I also I have he was 5, and then what's his name? Claudio was 6 with the knee bar. Those were 5, 6 for me.
Well, Jose and Shaheen on the money with performance bonuses. None of us would have gotten the fight of the night correct. This wouldn't have been my guess either. Vlismas Martin.
That was a great fight.
A very good fight. Very good fight.
Hey, that's what. On our preview show, I said that on our Q&A. I said that was the low key banger.
Yes, you did.
But I don't agree that was fight of the night though.
So yeah, fight of the night, Vlismas Martin, and then performances: Guida, Curtis, Hill, Fiziev.
Wow, Manel Kate didn't get one. Unreal.
Haters.
What a card! When we can have this kind of discussion about a 6 bonus night, and still people are out here getting shafted, it feels like that's when you know it was good. Anytime you can get Joe Martinez introducing Jose Aldo in the cage. Mm-hmm. That's just perfection. Give me that all day, every day. But let us move on, gentlemen, because there's so much to hit on this card. So let's go now to this co-main event.
Real quick. I just think it's kind of crazy that we're debating if Aldo should get a title fight after his best performance at bantamweight when he got a title fight off a loss. I just think that's that's just the reality we're in. It's just crazy, but yeah, it's just weird.
I think there were a couple things that went into that, like being on Fight Island and visas and all.
I mean, I understand like just timing is different, but it's just weird.
It's a weird game, man.
Yeah,
it's a weird game,
all.
And I absolutely love it. These are the nights where you just are reminded of how crazy this sport is. And again, this co-main event was no different. We talked about it a tiny bit. Rafael Fiziev versus Brad Riddell, the people's main event, kind of the one that all the hardcores out here had circled since the moment this one was announced. I saw on Twitter our good friend Kaposa called the exchanges in this fight mini car crashes. And I really can't think of a more perfect way to describe what was going on in there. That's exactly what they were. It was tension galore, technical as all hell, and then just utter brilliance from Rafael Fiziev. You saw that 3rd round spinning wheel kick. Super fast stoppage by Herb Dean. I saw some people complaining, but I actually liked that stoppage. It felt like that was, he saved Brad Riddell from a terrible, terrible situation there. And now that's 5 in a row for Rafael Fiziev. He's only 28 years old. Jose, what did you see from this?
I saw a guy that was incredibly patient in there because I think I didn't listen to the commentary, but I had to like go to the other room for something quick, and I had the commentary on, so I actually heard a little bit of this, and they were saying that Brad Riddell just seemed maybe a step ahead in not speed or power, but it seems like he was dictating the fight. And while I was watching it, it really did seem like Fiziev was reacting to everything Riddell was doing, even though Riddell had his back to the fence. It seemed like every time Fiziev would kind of like throw a feint or anything, Riddell wouldn't bite, and then he would kind of, because I remember there was this moment where Riddell had like this insane like 5-punch combo, and Fiziev was just on his back, like just like turtled up while he was just eating punches to the head, and then he just found an opening and just connected with a spinning wheel kick from hell. So Fiziev, as exciting as he was, just showed absolute incredible patience, incredibly high fight IQ, and just makes me that much more excited to see him fight all of these different styled fighters, because I want to see his defense and his IQ against non-strikers, because he's fought a lot of strikers in the UFC, and I want to see him fight someone else, like maybe a high-level grappler. I want to see how he does. But awesome fight.
After this after this fight ended, I tweeted out future champ on the replay of this stoppage, and I had some pushback from that. It seems like people aren't fully sold yet, or at least some people. There's a lot of haters on social media, obviously, but some people aren't fully sold yet on Fiziev. Where do you feel like his ceiling is? Like, how far do you feel like this guy can go? Does he feel like a future champ to you, or maybe we're not there yet?
I think that reaction just speaks to the strength of the lightweight division right now. I mean, when you say that, then you're immediately having people compare him to Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Dariush Makhachev, Michael Chandler, and so on and so forth. And again, I certainly would like his chances in some of those matchups, but I really just haven't seen enough yet. I think amongst our ranking panel, I probably had Fiziev either pretty low or not ranked at all, but only because the division is so deep, and I just want to see him just beat a few more higher ranked guys. Riddell is in my top 15, so clearly that's an automatic jump up for Fiziev, and probably even higher, maybe even not just past Riddell, but past a few people in front of him. So I think future champion. It's a little too early to say. He certainly has the striking for it. It's just there's not a lot of guys at 155 who have his style, and certainly not who can land a spin kick right on the money like he did. I mean, that finish was awesome. The whole fight was great, but that spin kick, man, it was just so clean. And I can't believe people are complaining about the stoppage. I mean, Riddell was backing off with his hands up, like essentially a no mas.
He was looking the wrong direction.
Yeah, and then collapsed after. So I'm not sure what. Like, we give Herb Dean the most crap around here. And I do think he's overall a poor referee. He nailed that call. That call was fine. And Fiziev is great.
Casey, did you like the stoppage or no?
Stoppage is excellent. It was like for as bad as that stoppage he had the other week against, was it Rothwell? It was Rothwell, right? That was the fight.
Yep.
Rothwell.
Yeah.
For as horrible as that stoppage was,
Easy.
this was the other end. It was such a good stoppage, actually. Because like the way Riddell was like just looking the wrong direction, and it looked like he was like talking to someone, like, "Hey, I got to get out of here." You know, it was like he was that out of it.
It was shades of Michael Chandler, Will Brooks.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was just like when the guy just forgets like he's even in a fight, he gets hit that hard. But to the fight itself, freaking awesome. Like I kind of call this. It sounds bad, but I call this a poor man's Gaethje Chandler in sense of just these incredibly just freight trains hitting each other. I thought this was the same way. It's just the ranking wasn't there. But both, I'm not gonna go future champ like you said. But I wouldn't give me a pushback. But I believe Fiziev and Riddell are both eventually gonna be like kind of permanent fixtures in the top 10, and both of them will break the top 5. I don't know if either are going to fight for a title. No, we haven't seen him against the best grapplers. We don't know yet. But it was a pleasure to watch the main event and co-main event. I just absolutely loved it. And I think if Fiziev and Riddell fought 10 times, I think they split 5-5. I think they're that evenly matched. But Fiziev got the best of him tonight. It was a great fight. Great fight.
Yeah, man, you look up and down these lightweight rankings right now. There are the matchups available for Fiziev. It's just mouthwatering, man. I'm seeing people in the chat throw out Michael Chandler versus Fiziev. Like, that's unbelievable matchup right there. And there's just a billion different examples of this. 155 is still one of my favorite divisions of this whole entire sport, man. It's just, when it's good, it is so damn good.
As long as it's moving, I feel like, it just gets stuck sometimes because, Connor stuff or whatever. But hopefully after this title fight next week, then, get those rankings moving, get challengers facing each other. So should be awesome.
Absolutely. Well, hey, let's bounce around this main card a little bit because there's just a lot to get to, and I want to try to hit a few different things because we have to talk about Clay Guida, because between him, Sergio Pettis, Spike Carlisle, what a 24 hours it's been for just impossible MMA comebacks. I tweeted this, but the heart on display every weekend in this sport is just awe-inspiring, man. It's unbelievable to watch. And at one point, I think midway through the first round, this fight was 46-0 in significant strikes in favor of Leonardo Santos. I don't know how Clay Guida survived this. He actually ended the first round on top, and then he goes out there and just wins 81 seconds into round 2, submits a fourth-degree black belt. And if ever there was a night to have a time machine, this was it, because that man winning by submission was 16-1. Winning by submission in the second round was 43-1. Like, though, you don't see those kind of odds, man. It's just unreal. And we're talking about someone who's turning 40 years old on Wednesday. Jose, can you believe what you just saw in there?
I mean, anytime Clay Guida does anything, it kind of throws me off for a loop because I never know what to expect. Because I think we did a post show. I think it was you, or we were talking about it on one of what was his last win, the Michael Johnson fight, and we were talking about how he has just the most bizarre career. Like, we were trying to figure out if there's a fighter who has as many big name wins combined with as many lopsided losses as Clay Guida, and I can't think of any. Like, he has like wins over like Anthony Pettis and like Diaz brothers,
RDA.
BJ Penn. He has BJ Penn on
a random RDA win in there.
Yeah, like he has beaten. Like, if you make a list of like the 10 greatest lightweights, like Clay Guida has wins over a big chunk of them, and then he has a bunch of losses.
He has wins over BJ Penn, Anthony Pettis, and Rafael dos Anjos, and Takanori Gomi. Like, those are 4 of the most legendary dudes.
Kawajiri, Hatsuo Hioki, like, these are some of the best fighters who have ever fought in like the lower weight classes. And Clay Guida just beat all of them, but then he has like weird submission losses to like Dennis Bermudez, which Dennis Bermudez is great, but like it's not a name that kind of jumps out at you. Like, you know what I'm saying? So anytime Clay Guida fights, I'm like, he might lose or he might just tear through his opponent. I have absolutely no idea. So the fact that the submission threw me off guard. I thought maybe he would like grind it out because I did think Leandro with his cardio would kind of catch up to him. Had absolute, like, if I had to put money on something, it wouldn't have been a submission win. But Clay Guida continues to prove everyone wrong.
AK, get in here. What did you see from the legend tonight?
A lot of things to cover. First of all, I mean, the insane heart and toughness that we all know about. I mean, this comeback of the 3 you mentioned was probably, I think, the most explicable, the most reasonable,
plausible.
The Pettis one, plausible. No, I just mean the easiest one to explain. The Pettis one, just this incredibly insane shot that only a Pettis brother could land. So that was whatever. That was like 1 in a million. That was almost as rare as the Rodriguez friggin' elbow, whatever, over the back elbow against Zombie. Against Zombie. Yeah. And then the Spike Carlisle, I thought he was dead in the second round. I'm like, that Spike Carlisle is not coming back. He's completely gassed. It's over for him. So that one was even more unlikely than this. But this one, it would not have been a travesty if Keith Peterson had stopped the fight. Okay, I'll say that. If he had stopped the fight, no one would have complained.
Let me jump in real quick. Because I'm not gonna lie. In the moment, I kind of was like half outraged that he wasn't stopping the fight. It's like, this is a long-term veteran, media, like saving from punishment.
Nuts.
But I'm
stupid.
stupid.
Going nuts. Well, no, not necessarily. There was a justification for a stoppage there. A lot of unanswered strikes. He did look really hurt, but I had no issue with him letting it go on at all. He was hurt. To me, he was hurt, not finished. I think Keith Peterson called it perfectly. Guida's going for a leg. If you stop it, again, you could have stopped it, and I wouldn't have had an issue. Clearly, no one on social media would have either. They would have said, good stoppage by Keith Peterson. I think he's going to take more flack because he didn't. And this is not just because Guida came back and won. That, to me, does not define whether a stoppage is good or not. We've had fights where guys will come back and win, and we still kind of go like, maybe he shouldn't have. Maybe the ref shouldn't have given him that chance. So that does happen. But tonight, I don't think that was the case. Tonight, I think it was accurate. And Leonardo Santos made a huge mistake in trying to manufacture a finish as opposed to finishing his opponent. And there's a difference. He was throwing a lot of effective but somewhat clearly shots that Guida could take, as opposed to kind of take his time, load up a shot, and maybe try to open up his defenses, maybe go for a submission. That's your specialty. You're one of the greatest submission grapplers in MMA of the last decade. Maybe go for submission. So I get it. I get how the game works. Other fighters have gotten away with this. We've seen many times the fighter does this, pours it on with the punches, looks to the referee. The referee does intervene and stops the fight. It didn't work out for him tonight, and I wish he had just been a little more picky with his strikes, because he definitely could have gotten a first round finish by TKO or by submission. He tried to play the game, didn't go his way this time. I thought Keith Pearson did a fine job, and we ended up getting one of the craziest moments of the year, which has now seen Jacare Souza, Rodolfo Vieira, and Leonardo Santos submitted all in the same year.
Jeez, man. That's unbelievable when you say it like that. I mean, Casey, you've been in this game for a long time. Is this the best weekend for just comebacks that you can ever remember seeing? And if you had to rank the 3 comebacks that we've seen in the last 24 hours, how do you rank them 1 to 3?
Oh, obviously, Pettis, the Pettis knockout. The Pettis knockout last night was just unreal. But Clay Guida, that was years of, like he said, years of wrestling, years of getting his butt kicked in the cage, but surviving. And AK makes a really good point. He tried to sell a finish, which is risky, and I think Keith Peterson actually kind of was offended by it. It's like, hey, let me do my job, man. It's and
he wasn't having it.
For that reason alone, he's like, I was gonna stop it, but now I'm not. It's I felt that, and unfortunately for Santos, I felt like he doubled down and started punching Pettis harder in the top of the head. Come on, look at Pettis' head. He can throw cement bricks at that thing. It's just it hurt the cement. But Guida. Guida. I'm sorry, Guida. But
lots of comebacks.
Yeah, lots of comebacks. Yeah. And unfortunately, Leo Santos, he showed his age. That I said that there's 2 40-year-old lightweights fighting in the UFC. I can't think of 2 40-year-old lightweights ever fighting in the
BJ and Clay were close. I think they were 38 and 39 when they fought. But
yeah, so this is even older. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And unfortunately, Santos he showed his age. I don't know why he didn't go for a submission rather than doing some really high energy waste of ground and pound. When he Clay Guida's been submitted a lot. You shouldn't use your freaking jiu-jitsu, man. I don't get it. Santos made a big mistake. Clay Guida capitalized on it. Congratulations, Clay Guida.
Just unreal finishes across the board.
Great. Yeah, great. Yeah.
And I want to jump to a different one now, because Chris Curtis, man, this gentleman we started the show by talking about José Aldo, obviously, and that's one of my favorite stories of 2021. But Chris Curtis might have actually one of the best stories of 2021, just all together. I mean, his career and what he has overcome to just get to this point is something else. I mean, this is somebody who got screwed at every turn possible for so long, so many different false starts, so many different bad breaks. He ends up retiring multiple times a couple years ago, even twice in one night at one point. Changes his mind, and now here he is. He's 6-0 this year over 3 divisions, as Jose pointed out multiple times. 6-0 over 3 divisions this year, 2-0 in the UFC, and he may very well be a ranked middleweight by the time we're in this space next month. It's bizarre. He storms through a very good prospect in Brendan Allen on Saturday night, his second round TKO. It's his second UFC upset knockout now in a month's time. I mean, Jose, you have to love this, right? How can you not love this?
It is, and I like how you said he could be a ranked middleweight, because he shouldn't even be fighting in middleweight.
He's not a middleweight.
He himself has said should be a welterweight. He's just taking all these he's basically Kelvin Gastelum himself into a title fight. He just keeps knocking off all these middleweights, and all of a sudden he's like, well, I guess he's fighting for a title now, and that's what's going to happen. So he says he wants to fight next weekend at UFC 269. I haven't looked at the card that closely, and I will later. But is there any middleweight fights on that card where if they fall out that Chris Curtis could slot in? Because he seems super down to fight every single week now.
I'm looking that up for you while we do this.
Also, to anyone watching,
There are several middleweight fights, including Andre Munoz, who is a ranked middleweight. So it's out there.
Let's make it happen. Like, hey, I'm not saying anyone should get hurt, but Chris Curtis, stay ready. Also, someone make him a Wikipedia page. He's the only fighter on this entire card without a Wikipedia page. Man, he's
Is that
6-0
true?
this year. Yeah, he deserves his own page now. Every single fighter on this
Jesus,
card has
people.
one except for him.
Show this man some damn respect, people. Come on. AK Casey, we were kind of having an internal debate about this, but is there a chance Chris Curtis is breakout fighter of the year?
No, but it's cute to talk about it. It's cute. I mean, yeah, it's a cute.
Third.
It's a great story. It's a great story. But
I have him third or fourth right now.
He's up
but
there.
He's clearly in the conversation.
Yeah.
What about you, AK?
Yeah. Look, gosh, this is gonna be a broken record now. I'm sorry. Every time Chris Curtis fights, and especially if he wins, talking about how many times he retired, how many bad breaks he's got, as you mentioned. The UFC did not want Chris Curtis. People have to understand this. They did not want to be in the Chris Curtis business. Why? We don't know. I don't have any inside scoop on it. Chris Curtis is an exciting fighter, super nice guy. Maybe he's too nice. I don't know. Like he doesn't have that that badass edge that the UFC is kind of looking for in a fighter, because he is like a very positive, happy dude. I mean, he'll be very honest about the kind of problems he's had in his career with trying to get into the UFC. He's had some bitterness in that regard, but just like anybody would. So I don't know what the issue is. And again, remember we were saying earlier, he only got in because he was originally going to fight Phil Hawes on a day's notice, and then the fight ended up getting pushed back. Hawes didn't want to take it then, and probably to the benefit of Curtis, it did get pushed back. And then Curtis goes on to beat him. So he's so talented. He's fought a lot of quality opposition outside of the UFC. This is long overdue. It's such a great feel-good story. I do have to think more about my breakthrough thing. Of course, after tonight, my immediate reaction was give this man all the awards. Fighter of the year. He's 6-0. He could be, if he wins at UFC 269, he could be 7-0, 3-0 in the UFC. Give him. He's got back-to-back bonuses, an extra 100 G's in his pocket in his first 2 UFC fights. A great story. One of many great stories tonight, and really this year, I should say. I think when we look back on it, there was a lot of positives, at least as far as in-cage action goes. So I couldn't be happier for Chris Curtis. I think a lot of us have interviewed him before, and so there's just that little personal connection to seeing this guy succeed, which is always nice.
You're right. Just the nicest guy. And I think no one deserves this sort of moment and this sort of success in this run more than him. I mean, I've seen it in the chat. Dark Sagan just says, I feel like the UFC gave him Allen, expecting him to lose. And that's kind of been the story of both of his UFC fights. I don't think anybody expected him to win either of these fights. He did it in spectacular fashion both ways. One last result, I should say, I want to hit before we jump into some fan questions here. Jamal Hill, man. If you were looking for a way, drawing up a way to bounce back from a really grisly armbar type of loss where you looked like your arm was almost broken in half, that's about as good as it gets, right, Jose? I mean, that was a tremendous stoppage on poor Jimmy Crute. He was out and then comes in with a perfect call out of Paulo Costa out of nowhere. Just a 10 out of 10 night for me for Jamal Hill, and example number 400 for me of why it pays to have a name in mind, because I wasn't even thinking of that fight. And now I actually really like that fight.
He had 2 names. He said, I hear Paulo Costa wants to come up to light heavyweight. And if that doesn't happen, then I'll fight Johnny Walker. So he had all of his bases covered. So if he doesn't get the Paulo fight, he's like, then I'll fight this madman that's 6'6" and Johnny Walker. So 10 out of 10 performance, 10 out of 10 call out. Jamal Hill won a lot of fans. I mean, I know everyone kind of views him as this brash, arrogant, loudmouth, especially before the Paul Craig fight. Remember they kind of had that run-in at the hotel, but goes out there and knocks Jimmy Crute and immediately goes to check on him and is all love to Jimmy Crute. So 10 out of 10 performance for Jamal Hill, gets another $50,000 bonus, and a fighter to watch at light heavyweight, I guess.
People say that about Jamal Hill?
Yes.
That's
people are haters, man.
I think that's Adam. Yeah, I never got that impression. I think Paul Craig
I think there's a little more to that than just a loud individual. Might be more of a race thing in terms of fight fans.
I feel you.
But being on site in Arizona, there were not a lot of Jamal Hill fans at the press conference when they were talking about
it. AK between the two matchups he threw out, Walker, Costa, what do you like better?
Oh, I mean, obviously I want to see Costa. I don't know. If I'm Costa,
That's the right pick. That's the right.
I mean,
pick.
even if I'm Costa, I do think it's not a bad matchup. If I'm Costa, I don't think it's a bad matchup for me. Hill is, I mean, he's only 11 fights into his career, and looks very good. I mean, look, this guy is a finisher. He has some incredible physical attributes for a light heavyweight. He'll have reach and size on Paulo Costa, but if I'm Paulo Costa, I definitely acknowledge the call out. I think it's a winnable fight for me. And Hill, again, will be getting top 15 talk, I think, after this win. He is, if you count the no contest that was overturned because of the Devil's Lettuce, he is.
Which we count. We count that.
Well, I don't know. Again, I'm not an outlaw, so I'm straight edge. So, but yes, he
It's
is
legal.
4-1.
It's legal, AK. It's legal.
He would be not in my soul, not in the eyes of God. He is 4-1 in the UFC with some very, very exciting performances. So it would be nice for Paulo Costa, who at 205, I hope he doesn't think of himself as like an immediate contender, like, oh, I should be getting top 5, top 10 guys immediately. It's like, Paulo, if you're going to stay at 205, you're kind of going to have to rebuild your reputation a little bit. Like maybe like 2 big wins, that's it. But he's not jumping into a top 5, top 10 opponent right away.
Paulo Costa also wants to keep fighting a middleweight. Dana White doesn't want that, so there's going to be drama with that whole
He's
situation.
only missed. How many times does Paulo Costa miss weight at 85?
It was just the way he did it, though.
I think it's more the question of how many times has he just outright
again,
not tried to make weight.
Again,
That's
he
more the
didn't
question.
And he made, and it was one of the best fights of the year. And he
It was
didn't.
great.
And he didn't miss weight for his last one. Yeah, he didn't miss weight.
No, but remember the hydration test. Remember the not the hydration test. The California. He was like one of the biggest rehydration. He didn't. I don't think he like broke their percentage thing of like too much weight.
California's a bunch of liberal soy boys. So
I know.
It's
the worst.
Yeah,
it's the worst. I know. It's the worst.
I
Casey,
forgot how.
Let's turn from the.
Oh, real quick.
What's up? No, go for it.
I did horrible on my picks tonight, but the one I was completely off on was Crute Hill. I was heavy on Crute, and I put way too much weight in the Paul Craig loss. I kind of forgot how good Hill was, and I think he just made a mistake against Paul Craig, and unfortunately he made that mistake in the octagon rather than like in the training room, and I just put too much weight in it, and I kind of forgot how good Jamal Hill is, and he is a fabulous talent, and I can't wait to see what's next.
I actually think it's an understatement to say you did poorly in the picks tonight. I don't know if the people know how bad your picks were, but
I got the main event right. I got the main event right. That's all that matters. That's all we showed up for.
True.
I say this with the utmost love for you, Casey, but you could not have replicated how bad your picks were tonight if you absolutely tried to pick the wrong fighter in every fight. It was
like
wonderful.
Just like a chicken pecking. I got the main event right. That's all I care about.
Wow, Casey, you did
All
real
right.
bad.
Well, Casey, the people have listened to us blather on long enough. I'm sure they have lots to say. What's going on? Let's hear from the people here.
Oh man, I can't believe we're gonna talk about. Oh, wait, that's an old question. Sorry. Ooh. All right, questions. I'm just upset that we didn't talk about Starboy yet.
Well, let's do it.
Right,
What'd you think? I mean, we finally saw the Starboy you have been waiting for. I have been waiting for. That we have all been waiting for.
We did a little bit last fight too.
We saw this is a better opponent, and I think we saw we saw it all, and his post fight call out, the non call out was top notch. When DC was like, "Who do you want to fight next?" He's like, "I am the Starboy. You come after me. I am the champion. You come after me." It's like what why would I call out people? That is below me. It's like I wait for these challengers. I am the Starboy. I am so happy. Mano Cop is back. He's back, and I don't know who's next for him, but it's gonna be exciting. And whoever's gonna, I worry about his next opponent.
Oh man, this flyweight division is so fun.
You know, it's fun.
It's so silly that we almost lost this a couple of years ago. It's such a good place right now.
By the way, God bless Zumagulov for like just saying, I'm just gonna go in there. I know this guy's dangerous. I'm just gonna go at him anyway. And look, he paid the price, but he gave us a great fight. So,
it was.
So a little round of applause for Zuma, because I thought like, oh, he's gonna have to be a little tactical in there. It's like, nah, I'm gonna push the pace. Let's see Cop keep up with me. And I'm like, maybe not the best strategy. Maybe not.
Could anyone keep count of that combo he threw at the end? I was trying to count it. I lost count.
Yeah,
I was like,
that was like a killer instinct combo. That was just
it was push every button. All right.
Let's hear from the people.
From the people.
Joseph writes, I have no problem with Jose winning, but we had two 50-45s and a 49-46. Was that scorecard correct? I had a 50-45. Would you guys have it?
I thought 50-45 pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
49-46, but I wouldn't argue with 50-45.
Yeah, the case, I guess
round one.
That's probably the disputed round. Yeah, look,
like, I don't have any issue if people like. I'm not going to argue that he lost round one.
Yeah, but he did the most damage. Aldo did the most damage. I don't know if Joseph is asking about all the cards or just the 49-46, but I will say again, I think either is justifiable. Font controlled most of the action. He just unfortunately got knocked down at the end. And again, a knockdown in MMA is not an automatic 10-9, but if Font did a little more damage in the feet, he still would have taken it. But again, he didn't land anything super consequential, and Aldo clearly did just did the most damage with that flurry. So, but yeah, 49-46 isn't terrible.
Yeah.
It never fails. David writes, Guida used the old Darren Elkins game plan. It never fails. We saw it 3 times this week.
Yeah, I like it.
It never fails.
Jose, I think you said that was it you that tweeted that their teammates, but you would. Oh, maybe that wasn't you. No, you would never suggest it. Someone tweeted that they know they are teammates, but it'd be fun to see them fight, and I'm sure their scraps in the gym must be crazy.
Oh man, the high pace, the pace on those fights have to be out of control. Let's see if we can get a few more in here before we get.
Are they the same weight class? Are they the same weight class? Isn't Darren Elkins is he a featherweight?
He's a featherweight. He can fight at lightweight.
Guida's gone down to featherweight, but he's lightweight now.
It would happen at lightweight if they wanted to, but I don't think they would.
Ooh. Jonathan writes, is there any chance Fiziev gets a top 5 or 6 opponent next? That's an interesting question.
Nah. Bye, Sean.
No way.
Oh, he popped. Sean. Okay, he'll be back. So I'm just sorry, it's probably an internet issue. Well, let's look at our top.
I'm gonna say no.
Ahead, Jose.
I'm gonna say no simply because there's a log jam. And so,
yes,
like the number 1 and 2 are fighting each other. Number 3 has already been promised the title fight, and then 4 and 5 are fighting. So he can't fight anyone in the top 5. Michael Chandler would be a scrap. I don't think that's going to happen. The Tony Ferguson fight is probably going to RDA seems to really want to fight that. Dan Hooker's going to featherweight. So next man up would be Gregor Gillespie at 10, and that's why I tweeted Gregor Gillespie versus Fiziev. Would I like to see him fight anyone in the top 5? 100%. I just think it's a matter of everyone's matched up or has fights that make more sense than Rafael Fiziev. So Gillespie at 10, I think, is the fight to make. Also because Riddell was supposed to fight Gillespie before the COVID situation happened, and then Riddell really wanted that fight rebooked. So now that he's beaten Riddell, Fiziev takes his spot. Gillespie, Fiziev also will let us answer the question of how he does against a high-level wrestler.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I see RDA at number 6 on the UFC rankings, which obviously there are better rankings out there. But nonetheless, I could see him getting RDA. Like, that actually feels like a fight. RDA is going to accept anything that gets thrown his way. Like, that feels like a fight that is possible. Just probably the only one of top 6, but could be there.
I think he's going to fight I think RDA is, like he said on the MMA Hour, he's like on that last stretch to the title. I bet he wants a little higher ranked guy, but I agree with you. He's probably not going to say no, but it's probably not going to be his first option.
I love
he really wants that Tony fight.
Yeah,
I love. They have him above.
Gillespie. Yeah,
they have RDA above in the UFC. Not that these rankings above Tony Ferguson. Okay, I guess Tony Ferguson on a losing streak, and above. Who do we have? I'm trying to think. Why is he lower on ours? We have him 8th. RDA. Yeah, we have him behind Ferguson, and who do they have now above? That's weird.
Chandler, Islam, Beneil, Gaethje, Oliveira, Poirier.
And they don't count the champion, right? They don't count the champion in their rankings.
Yeah, that's
why. Above 1. That's not like the worst thing. We just have Ferguson and Dos Anjos flipped. But I do think just to go to the question, as you said, we have Chandler 6, so that's probably the best chance he could get of getting a top 6 guy. But I do think Chandler will go in another direction. But it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't shock me if that matchup was made. So it's a remote possibility.
The Gillespie, that's because we want to see him against a grappler. I think.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. I agree. I like
RDA too. I like RDA.
And RDA too. And if Z's want to dominate Riddell and just kind of dominate and get the knockout, I think maybe we could talk the Chandler thing. But I think since it was such a competitive fight, I feel like the UFC should still not quite throw him to the front of the line yet.
Does he
Well,
get a top?
also on the other side of it, like Gillespie kind of is untested too in that aspect, right? Like that's kind of a thing that I want Gillespie tested against, just a high level striker to that degree too. So it kind of answers a couple different questions in this division.
Do you guys think he gets his 5-6 opponent next year, sometime next year?
If he wins,
I think he's one win away.
Okay. One win away.
I think that sounds right.
Yeah.
especially if the UFC is going to go to Abu Dhabi so much, they gotta want like that demographic covered.
Jose, you've been out there a bunch of times. Does it feel like you have a big following out there?
I don't think I've ever. I wasn't at his. I think he's only fought on Fight Island once, and I wasn't at that one. But based off of every other like Middle Eastern or Muslim fighter gets the biggest pop imaginable, whether they're fans of them or it's hard to say because they all get massive pops. But I would imagine. Plus, just stick Hezbollah like outside the octagon to watch Fiziev fight. Like they have. Did you see that epic promo they made for Fiziev and Hezbollah, but the UFC made? Like, just play that 1,000 times and have Hezbollah enter the octagon. It'll blow up. It'll happen.
All right, let's do 2 more and then we'll get out of here.
All right. Just real quick.
Oh, thank you.
Aw.
We appreciate all the love.
Thanks,
do it for you
Jessica.
guys.
Thank you, Jessica. She's the best.
Real quick.
Ooh. All right. This is a good question. Is Cheyenne? I'm gonna butcher it. Vilsmus?
No,
I think
It's
rhymes with
VL.
Christmas. VLIS.
Yeah, it's
I think
VL,
rhymes
right?
with Christmas.
Yeah.
I think rhymes with
Lismus.
Christmas. Lismus.
Ready for a top 15 opponent. What do you fellas think?
I don't know if she's ready, but her performance tonight, I thought she looked great. I love her attitude. I love her craziness. I love her. What after the fight, even like how she was throwing punches at the very end when she already had the fight won. She was like screaming something like, "Let's fight!" Just like let's go. I just love her. Like she almost has that kind of she has that kind of Sean Strickland type of attitude when she fights. I love it, and I thought she looked awesome tonight. I didn't think she was gonna be able to outstrike Mallory Martin that easily. She just uses her range well, and I know she's gone through a lot of personal issues outside the cage, and she took out that frustration on Mallory Martin tonight. It was great. Was it fight of the night? I don't know about that, but yeah, she's a great talent. I'm excited to see her fight again.
I'm happy they got that 50K just because they probably needed it more than any other fighter. It's just in their personal lives on the card.
This is her second straight bonus now for Cheyenne.
Oh,
So good
Good
on
for
her.
her.
good for her.
That's a way to make a living in the UFC if you can do it.
Yeah.
I don't think she's quite ready for a top 15 yet, if only because the top 15 is a lot of veterans. I wouldn't want to throw her in there with like an Angela Hill, a Vierna Jandiroba, maybe Jessica Penne. I think that might be a somewhat reasonable test for her right now. But most of the top 15 is pretty experienced, and she's very, very early in her career. Clearly a talent, great attitude, great fighter mindset. The skills, though, I don't think are, even in the somewhat thin strawweight division, not quite yet. I think she's maybe 1, maybe 2 fights away.
Maybe when Nina Nunes gets healthy, maybe it's something like that.
I wouldn't hate that.
Even I think Nina Nunes. I'm also a big Nina Nunes fan, so I think maybe she's quite a step above Cheyenne. I think we got to take it easy with Cheyenne Vilsmus. I don't think she's quite there yet, but definitely see the potential of someone who could be a top 10 fighter.
All right. Well, let's end here. We got one more, Casey, or
No. Let me see real quick.
I'm perfectly happy ending on the moment of silence for the 2 mullets, because as 2012 Chief Keef says, a moment of silence for the 2 mullets tonight. They both got bad nights.
Bad nights, yeah.
Well,
Brandon Allen probably already has the next fight. Oddly enough, Edmund decided to talk the first trash of his life on Twitter.
I had to double check when I saw that was
very bizarre.
But Allen's callback was great. Right? What was that? We're both irrelevant. Let's fight. Is that what he said?
Casey, can we end on this question from MMA Voggers about thoughts on Fiziev's call out? I think if you recall Fiziev, I don't know if you see this question.
Oh, was that a wasted call out?
This one says MMA Wagers wants to know thoughts on Vince Vaughn versus Rafael Fiziev.
I'm pretty confident that
creative.
Vince Vaughn. I'm pretty confident when I say Vince Vaughn's probably the most famous person that was in that building. So why not shoot your shot?
Shoot your shot, baby.
Has he played any sort of boxer or fighter character in any movie? He's played so many characters. Like, he has never played anything like that. Dodgeball is the only time he played like an athlete, right?
I mean, Dodgeball, also, he's just a real inspirational leader in old school.
Sure,
if we're being honest.
sure.
Come on now.
I honest to God can't. Well, I get he was in Rudy. That was a long time.
Was he?
As a football? He
Yeah,
was.
He was the rude guy.
I think it's where he met Jon Favreau, and I think they
Probably.
did Swingers after. I could be wrong. It could have been before. I believe they did Swingers after, though. I think it's actually where he met Jon Favreau. Yeah. But yeah,
right.
very funny call out. Favorite Vince Vaughn film? Favorite Vince Vaughn film? Anyone? Casey?
I don't know. Old school.
Someone's-
Old school.
yeah.
Old school.
Wait,
Was he
is
in
Probably
old
old school.
school? Was he in old
Wait.
school? Yeah, he was in old school. Okay, old school.
Wait, is he in
That's
Here
it.
Comes the? Is he in Here Comes the? Is he in Here
No,
Comes the? Boom?
that's all Kevin. That's all Kevin Lee.
Oh, David Sandine. Why would you say that? He said, "Didn't you see Here Comes the?" Come on.
Maybe he had a
All
small
right.
part in it. All right.
I don't know.
And with that, let's go ahead.
All these
And get
amazing
outta here.
fights. Let's end this on Vince Vaughn.
I know, right? You never know where these things go. Either way, thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. You gotta love this sport. Just on the random Saturday nights like this, we can just get a card for the ages. So much fun, so much exciting finishes, so many great fights. And this has been the UFC Vegas 44 post-fight show here on MMA Fighting. Thanks to everyone who tuned in and made us a part of your weekend. That man's Jose Youngs. That man is Alexander K. Lee. We got the best producer in the business, E. Casey Leydon. I am Shaheen Al-Shatti. We've got on to the next one coming Sunday. The MMA Hour kicks off your week on Monday. Thanks again, y'all. We love you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. Keep it locked to MMA Fighting, and we will see you guys soon.